Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and welcome back, dear viewers, to Politics and Debate. Today, inshallah, we're going to be talking about the politics involved in North Korea. North Korea is probably the most secretive state on this planet. We literally do not know very much about this country at all. But what we do know is that it is ruled by a dictatorship, an authoritarian regime that does not allow its people to leave the country. Could you imagine not being able to get on a plane and go to France or go to Karbala? North Koreans cannot leave their country. North Koreans cannot speak out against the government. When you think of how we here in the West, we have this freedom of speech. If we don't like the Prime Minister, we can say so. But if you say such a thing in North Korea, it could end up costing your life and the lives of your family. Discussing this on the topic of corrupt and evil leaders will be my esteemed guest, Dr. Zahra. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
So, it truly is a heartbreaking situation. The fact that there is this state where these people are being so oppressed by this regime, where even if they want to leave the country to go for a holiday, they can't even do that. How do we as Muslims, how are we taught to deal with oppressive regimes and evil dictators as such?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salam ala Muhammad wa alihi tayyibin at-tahirin. Sometimes when you have evil despots, there isn't really much you can do. As long as they're there, they have all the forces and the power, and the poor people, the civilians, they can't do much, in the sense that as soon as they rise up and try to protest at the standard of their living or the lack of freedom, whatever, they will be faced with a swift response, a swift and brutal response. So, yes, the answer is very simple. There isn't much they can do, and of course, we've seen it during the reign of Saddam in Iraq, which was for about 30 years,
Yes.
Or 25 years, and it was very evil, terrifying, and people just lived fear every moment of their lives. It's something which you cannot describe really unless you live it, and they couldn't do much for all that. So the same goes for the people of North Korea. God knows what's happening inside. I don't know how, whether it's worse than the regime of Saddam or better. I can't imagine if it's worse than Saddam, because Saddam used to sort of routinely kill people. I don't know how bad North Korea is compared to Saddam's regime, and unfortunately Saddam based his at least we have other examples of this regime of terror or of Republic of Fear that we had under Muawiyah as well. He basically ruled through fear, and in order to strengthen his position, he used fear and terror so that people were terrorized by the name of Muawiyah or the army of Muawiyah. And to set an example, he did it on various occasions, whether he sent his troops to Yemen to kill tens of thousands of people, or nearer home to Heat, which is a town in Iraq, western Iraq, if you like, not far from, relatively not far from the Syrian today's Syrian border. So it was relatively close to Damascus, which was the seat of his power, Muawiyah's power. And on each of these occasions, heat and further south in Yemen, he sent his troops without any agitation, without any being incited by anyone. They just attacked a town and started killing its people. And Muawiyah had instructed that, I want you, his general, saying that I want you to do that, kill people mercilessly, so that people are terrified. This news reaches other cities, and people are terrified of the name of Muawiyah and of the army of Muawiyah. And this is exactly what they did. I don't know if North Korea does something like this, but
maybe.
This is what we have in history, that they used to mercilessly and for no reason just invade and kill. And of course these people whom they killed, they were Shia. They killed them so that they could be terrified and subdued by the army of Muawiyah.
There's nothing really like causing fear and panic within the people than in a way of controlling them.
Yes.
And Muawiyah, it just amazes me that there are certain schools of thought who regard Muawiyah very highly. They say that he was a just and pious leader, when in reality he was the Saddam of his age. He was the Kim Jong-un of his age. The way he mercilessly not only cursed Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, but killed those who spoke up against it. For example, Hujr ibn Adi al-Kindi, one of the greatest Shia, a Shia that we don't give much recognition to. He and his son were murdered at the hands of Muawiyah for this.
That's right. That was his policy. That was his way of doing things. He had no credibility, so he used fear in order to subdue the people, in order to be able to rule over them.
I thought it was interesting that you compared the situation in North Korea today with Saddam's rule. I think the important difference between North Korea and Iraq, and what gave the Iraqi Shias the advantage, was the fact that they had that faith. They had that hope. They had the shrines of Imam Ali alayhi salam and Imam Hussein alayhi salam, like to remind them and to give them this strength almost to overcome. I want to briefly talk about taqiyya. Now, North Korea as a state is a socialist state. It doesn't allow religion. And we in Shia Islam, we have this thing called taqiyya that we're often attacked by other schools of thought in Islam. What is taqiyya as such, and can we just use it, say if we're in a bit of an awkward situation, for example, if a Sunni comes up to you and says, oh, what do you think of Umar, for example? When can we use taqiyya?
Basically, when your life is in danger and if you were to reveal your beliefs, then that could put you and your safety in jeopardy. Then you don't have to declare your beliefs. And if this was the only means available to you to protect yourself, and so that you can, if you like, save your life. This is how it's done. This is the purpose behind it, and something is logical. If you were in a place, in a location, in a country that they routinely and mercilessly persecute the Shia, and you would not be able to freely express your opinion on your belief or present an argument, then you'd better not. It's as simple as that.
So taqiyya isn't just an excuse for us to lie about our faith in general. It's something for a life and death moment.
Exactly. It's something practical, which everyone would do, even if we didn't have this principle as part of the faith. But everyone would do that. Everyone would if they see they are in a difficult situation, and if they were to reveal their beliefs and speak their mind, they would be in jeopardy and difficulty, then they wouldn't.
Absolutely.
It's as simple as that.
Looking at the example of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wa alihi and the Ahlul Bayt alayhim wassalam, how would they react when people would criticise them as such? Because if we link this back to North Korea, the people there, they don't even have the freedom of speech. They can't criticise a certain thing that the government has done. So how would the Ahlul Bayt alayhim wassalam, how would they react to such criticism?
You mean vis-a-vis a corrupt regime?
Not to do with a corrupt regime, but like say if they, for example, like the Shias, they weren't happy when Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam signed the peace treaty with Muawiyah. He faced some criticism there. How did he react in response?
He basically explained to them. He said that if I hadn't done this truce, then none of you would have survived. If we were to go ahead with this battle, and all the generals have betrayed us, and we don't have military leaders to conduct this war, then none of you guys would be alive today. So he basically explained to them the reason behind it.
So he wasn't angry with them as such. He took the time to actually explain why he did this.
Not at all. They, as I said, we have many examples. Even if they were insulted, they wouldn't respond in a similar manner. Let alone when their own people wanted to know why the Imam did that. So they are there for guidance.
Yeah, and they are the beacons of light and guidance for us, alhamdulillah. Thank you so much for this discussion, Dr. Zahra. But do stay tuned, my dear brothers and sisters, as up next in Home and Living, Sister Fatima is going to be looking at rings, one of my favourite topics, inshallah.